G'day. Wait, don't change channels, it's me. Not some good looking young rooster. Just had a haircut. In the last episode I mentioned that my belt sander had thrown in the towel. So I'm going to need it in the upcoming jobs that I've got. So I've had to have a look at it and see what it needs. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. Follow me over there. Okay, so I turned this thing on the other morning to do something with it, and the motor started to turn. There was a little clicky cracking sound, and then it just stopped. So I've had to try and find out what it was. This is the setup that I had before with this motor, which is a 220 volt DC motor, and it was being run through a rectifier to get it back to DC with this little speed controller. So the first thing I did was replace the rectifier, but that didn't solve the problem. And then I suddenly remembered that this thing has a fuse in it. So I checked the fuse and it appeared to be blown, so I went, aha, that'll be the problem. So I replaced that, and that didn't fix it either. So I pulled this apart. I couldn't see anything wrong visually with this inside. Everything looked pretty good, other than it had a lot of metallic dust in it. So I took it up the road to the guy that does my electronic repairs and got in to check it, and he said no, the motor's stuffed. So I thought, oh well, I'll have to get another one. So I got onto where I bought that one from, and it came up as non-existent product, so I can't exactly order another one. So what am I going to do now? So I was looking around for another smallish compact motor, and I couldn't find one. And then I suddenly thought, well, I bought this thing to use on the mill when I build it, and this is another washing machine motor, really cheap, about half the price I paid for the original one for the lathe. And they sort of come as what you see is what you get. Bearings were buggered, and it looked pretty ratty, to be honest with you. So I pulled it apart and I put new bearings in it, cleaned it all up, gave it a coat of paint, and it works pretty good now. With the belt sander, speed's a bit of an issue, and originally I had a little this little thing here, this thing in there, that's a spin dry motor for a washing machine. It just wasn't fast enough for the job, so I replaced it with this. This thing's 7,000 RPM, and it really cranks it up. These things, they're usually rated to somewhere between about 14 to 17,000 RPM, and they really crank it up. So they get most of their power from speed. So it's not really necessary for a belt sander to be hooking into the built-in tacho. So I don't think I'll really need that other speed control that I used on the lathe. So I think I'll get away with this little one here, and I'll show you just how fast these things spin up. Get a little bit of something to make sure I don't zap myself. And that's only just started. I don't know that I'd want to run that flat out for too long. But anyway, we'll get in and I'll try and fit this up to this belt sander and see how we go. So I'm having a little trouble with clearance through this plate for the spindle from the motor. So I'm going to bore it out. So there's a good chance to try out my magnetic base. So I'm actually running a hole saw through an existing hole. So there's no pilot drill, no nothing. Let's see how this handles it. A little more lube on it. Checking to make sure I haven't run out of spring there. It's not fully compressed, but still a bit left. Might just get there. There. Like I bought one, only much more better. There we go. New hole. With this thing being maybe 3 times the size of that old motor, it's going to take a bit of aligning to get it right in all aspects, so that the pulley's running true. and I'm a little torn as to how to go about this. It was pretty easy mounting this thing up originally, and it was also pretty easy to mount this thing up, but this is another kettle of fish. So what I'm thinking about doing is making a cradle that this just sits in, and then trying to mount the cradle onto this, the rest of this thing. So that's what I might do. I've got some angle iron there. I'll just make a little frame up that it sits in. So I'll get on with that. Okay, after a lot of thought and decision making and looking at what I have and what I think I can get, I've decided on a course of action. These two holes on the back are different size to the two on the front, and there's a little lip up inside, and that, like, they're tapered. They tapered from the outside to the inside from both sides, and I think it's because they had some sort of a bush in there originally that was self-retaining, and I think the front's in the same boat. And I have no idea, there's no markings on this to tell me what brand it is or what type of washing machine it came out of. So I've decided what I'm going to do is just weld up this little tray for it, if you like. So it's just 2 pieces of angle iron and a piece of flat across each end, and I'm going to drill and tap a hole in each leg through there to retain it. That's the simplest, easiest way out of it, and that's the way I'm going to go. Just a quick intermission. When I decided I was going to use this on the belt sander, I jumped in and ordered another one for the mill when I get round to doing it. And like I said, these things are a bit of a, what you see is what you get when you order. It's a bit of a lucky dip. Talk about lucky dips. Check this out. It's almost like it's brand new for the same damn price. Whereas that one there was in a really sad state and needed a whole lot of TLC. Winner. Alrighty, so I finished off this frame, welded on the base, and I've drilled and tapped some holes in here for these bolts to hold it all together. And I've put 2 holes in the end here for clamping. I use this one here for the front, and I've put 2 new ones in here. I just thought I'd show you these things. They're really easy to fit. You just Allen key in there, drill an 8mm hole for these particular ones. They have a 6mm thread in them. You just start it in there and then screw it in. You can screw them down flush with the surface or just below it, so nothing catches on it. And they're great, fantastic little things for doing this sort of stuff. I use them a bit for clamping stuff to the bench, things that don't move around much. Let's use a couple of 6mm cap heads in there. And this one goes up on the other end. We'll be able to clamp it all to the bench and it won't be going anywhere. So I'll pull this back out of there again, paint it all up, get it ready. And I need to go find something to make a new cover for this, because this is obviously not going to do the job. So I'll probably end up having to use part of this and a new part for here, or maybe I'll make a whole new one, not sure yet. But anyway, where I got that from, they've only got some really thick stuff at the moment, twice as thick as this. And this is hard enough to bend as it is, and I think I'd have a hard time bending something twice as thick as that. So I might just go down to one of the little fabrication shops down the road that use a lot of gal steel or zinc aluminum steel, whatever it is, and see if I can get a piece off them to fold that up, because I don't want a whole sheet of that stuff. So I'll go and do that. Alrighty, so I've got it all tarted up and painted. Now I just need to make some covers, and I can confirm that there's nothing wrong with your eyesight, and you can tell the difference between different colours. This was indeed red before, now it's green. But old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard, and the cupboard was bare of red paint, but there was gallons of that green in there, so that's why it's green now. After 3 visits or 4 visits down to the one place down the road, I managed to pick this up. So I'll go and fold up. I'm going to measure it all up and mark it out, and I'll cut it all out and fold this up into a nice cover. I think I'll make a whole new cover, and I might go and get a small plastic electrical box and put on the top to mount this and the switch in. So I'll get on with all that. I don't mind telling you, but this is fairly heavy gauge stuff, and it took some cutting up with these damn aviation snips. And my poor old arthritic hands are not enjoying it. I made this up Very early in my mini home workshop days, and I haven't used a whole lot, but I'll give it a whirl today. Damn thing bit me on the finger when I was getting it out, swung around and pinched me. Oh, too easy, camp-easy. Hey? Too bloody easy, camp-easy. Looks pretty groovy. I don't know that I'm actually going to be able to bend too much more with this, to be honest with you, but I'm going to give it a go. There's actually quite a few bends in a lot of different directions on this thing, so this one I'm going to have to bend by hand, I think. I pretty much reckon the same with the rest of them. I'm not going to get any more bends out of this thing. Unless I bend that one by hand, I might be able to bend that in the in this, so I might go bend that one by hand, see how we go. Don't know that I'm going to be able to bend this all the way. But at least if I get it started, it might be a whole lot easier to finish it. Righto, see how we go. Oh jeez. It's bent this other one back a bit, but I can straighten that up. Cool, that's one less I have to do by hand. Getting there. Well, there it is. I'm glad I didn't try to video everything I did with this. What I thought would take me an hour or two ended up taking me all damn day. It was, things were going along quite swimmingly until I got to this bit here. And oh my god, I kind of forgot that there's a leg from the motor sitting just in this area here, and it created all sorts of problems for me. But and I mucked around with it, but there it is, all finished. I contemplated painting this with some iridescent orange that I've got sitting in the cupboard, but I might just leave it like this. See how we go. It starts to the surface starts to go on it, I might get the paint out and paint it. Anyway, there it is, it's all done. Got a little problem with this pulley here, or this runner, whatever you want to call it. I made that up when I didn't have a compound slide on the lathe, and I just filed a bit of a taper at each end of this, and it doesn't centralise it properly. So I think I might, now that I've got the lathe all set up properly, pull this off and just put a bit more of a taper each end of these, because it wanders around on there. So if you enjoyed this build, how about giving me a great big thumbs up and smash that like button, and consider subscribing if you haven't done yet. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.